From the day you were old enough to understand words, the world trained you to believe one idea: hard work is the key to success. Work harder than everyone, grind more, sacrifice more, sweat more, and one day life will reward you. But here's the truth. Napoleon Hill discovered after 20 years of studying the richest men in America that belief is only half of the story. And for most people it becomes a trap. Millions of people wake up before the sun, commute for hours, labor all day, push until their back aches, go home exhausted, sleep, and repeat. Yet their life never moves forward. Their income doesn't change, their opportunities don't expand, their reality stays the same year after year. How is that possible? How can someone give so much effort and receive so little progress? Hill found the answer. He realized that the world doesn't reward the hardest workers. It rewards the smartest thinkers. It rewards the people who learn how to think beyond their programming, beyond their environment, beyond the limits they absorbed as children. Hard work alone creates tired bodies, but powerful thinking creates empires. Look at the world today. The people working the hardest are not the wealthiest. They are not the most fulfilled. They are simply the most exhausted. Meanwhile, one person with a single powerful idea can rewrite their financial destiny in a single year. Look at every major success story. It never began with labor. It began with vision. It began with belief. It began with a thought so powerful that it rearranged their entire reality. Hill discovered that the rich did not escape poverty by doing more tasks. They escaped by shifting their mindset, by adopting beliefs that lifted them above their circumstances, by deciding that their mind was their real source of wealth. They didn't chase wages, they built systems. They didn't trade time, they multiplied time. They didn't wait for permission, they made decisions as if the world would adjust to them, and amazingly, it did. This is the part of the truth that schools never taught you, society never explained, and most people never learn. You can work hard your entire life and never rise. Or you can begin to work on your mind, and suddenly doors open, opportunities appear, and life responds differently. The question is not how hard are you working, the real question is how high are you thinking? Because you don't rise by working harder, you rise by thinking higher. And the moment you understand that, your entire life begins to shift. The trap of endless labor. Most people never question the system they were taught to follow. They believe that if they simply push harder, if they simply stay loyal to the grind, one day things will magically improve. But think about this clearly. If hard work alone created wealth, then the construction workers, the cleaners, the factory employees, the farm laborers, the people who sweat the most, would be the richest individuals in the world. But they're not. And it's not because they are less deserving, it's because they were never taught the correct formula for rising above survival. Napoleon Hill realized something uncomfortable but true. Most people are trained to work hard, not to think, trained to obey, not to imagine, trained to follow orders, not to create. From childhood, the message is repeated. Be responsible, be realistic. Don't take risks. Don't dream too big. And by the time a person becomes an adult, their subconscious mind has accepted that life is supposed to be a struggle, that success belongs to other people, that wealth is something you earn slowly, painfully, and only if luck is on your side. But what if that idea is completely wrong? What if the hardest workers stay stuck because they're working hard instead of working intelligently? Hill wrote that every great achievement begins in the mind long before it appears in the physical world. Yet millions of people never sit quietly with their own thoughts. They never ask themselves, is there a better way? Is there a smarter path? Is there a system I can build instead of a wage I can chase? They are so busy surviving that they forget to design a life. Hard work without direction becomes a prison. Hard work without purpose becomes exhaustion. Hard work without vision becomes a cycle that repeats endlessly. Look at your own life. How many years have you spent doing the same tasks, hoping things will change? How many times have you told yourself, I just need to work harder, without ever asking, is this even the right strategy? This is the invisible trap that keeps millions spinning in circles, never realizing that they are following a system built to keep them tired, obedient, and too drained to think creatively. The people who rise are not the ones who carry the heaviest load. They are the ones who learn how to step back and think, who learn how to question everything, who learn how to see opportunity where others see routine. These are the individuals who pause long enough to ask, what if there is another way? And in that question, they unlock a path that changes their destiny. Hill discovered that a single idea, one spark of imagination, can transform a life faster than a decade of labor. Because ideas scale. Ideas multiply. Ideas create systems, and systems build wealth even when you are not physically working. So ask yourself honestly, are you exhausting your body while your mind sleeps? Are you surviving when you were meant to be creating? Are you working hard instead of working intelligently? Remember this, labor keeps you busy. Thinking sets you free. One path drains you, the other elevates you. And the moment you understand the difference, you begin to escape the trap. The difference between effort and strategy. Hard work feels noble. Society praises the grinder, the person who never sleeps, the one who sacrifices everything for the job. But Hill discovered a truth that makes many people uncomfortable. Effort without strategy is a waste of a lifetime. You can swing an axe all day at the wrong tree and still have no firewood. You can run at full speed on the wrong road and never reach the destination. And this is exactly what millions of people do. They confuse being busy with being productive. They confuse movement with progress. They confuse sacrifice with success. When Hill interviewed the wealthiest men of his time, Carnegie, Rockefeller, Ford, Edison, he didn't find men who bragged about how hard they worked. What he found instead were men who bragged about how smartly they worked. Men who protected their time, protected their energy, and protected their mind. Men who spent more hours thinking than laboring. Carnegie once said something striking. You can work a man to death, but you will never think him to death. Hill understood what he meant. The mind has no limits, but the body does. The individual who learns to leverage their mental power will always rise faster than the one who relies only on physical effort. Look at successful entrepreneurs today. They don't trade hours for dollars. They trade ideas for possibilities. They build systems that work even when they sleep. They design networks, tools, and structures that multiply their influence. Meanwhile, most people work tirelessly inside systems someone else created. This is the great divide Hill saw. The poor chase wages. The rich create frameworks that produce results automatically. Think of it this way. A laborer uses their hands. A thinker uses their mind. One is paid by the hour. The other is paid by the value they create. And here's the twist. Both may work equally hard, but the thinker gains more because the mind has exponential power. Physical effort can only move one brick at a time, but a single idea can build 1,000 buildings. Ask yourself, are you working like the laborer or the thinker? Are you exhausting your body while your potential sleeps? Are you putting your time into tasks or into ideas that reshape your future? Napoleon Hill warned that the greatest danger in life is not failure, it is being busy with the wrong work. A person can spend their entire life climbing a ladder only to reach the top and realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. This is the tragedy of blind hard work, but it doesn't have to be yours. Once you begin to think creatively, strategically, intentionally, your world expands, your opportunities multiply, your perspective sharpens, and suddenly you're no longer running in circles, you're moving forward. Remember this, hard work drains you, strategic thinking elevates you. The moment you learn the difference, your life and your results will never be the same. The mindset that separates the wealthy from the exhausted. Napoleon Hill discovered something that shocked him during his decades of research. The wealthy were not the strongest, the fastest, or even the most skilled. Many of them came from poverty, broken homes, or had little formal education. But they all shared one thing that separated them from everyone else, a mindset that refused to accept limits. While the average person thinks, I must work harder, the wealthy think, I must think better. While the average person asks, can I afford this? The wealthy ask, how can I create something that pays for this? While the average person waits for permission, approval, or the perfect moment, the wealthy act as if the world bends to their decisions. And often it does. Hill realized that rich individuals view the world through a different lens. They understand that money flows to value, not effort. That opportunity flows to belief, not struggle. That wealth flows to vision, not sweat. This doesn't mean the wealthy don't work. It means they work in ways that multiply their time and energy instead of draining it. They choose leverage over labor, creation over repetition, systems over sacrifice. Most people never learn this because they were raised inside a narrative that glorifies struggle. They heard phrases like, work until your back breaks. Success comes to those who grind the hardest. Don't take risks, just get a stable job. Be grateful for whatever you get. But these beliefs come from fear, not wisdom. They come from generations who didn't understand the power of the mind. They come from people who were trained to survive, not to rise. The wealthy, however, follow a different internal script. Their thoughts sound like, "There is always a better way. My mind is my greatest asset. My time is too valuable to trade cheaply. If I can imagine it, I can build it." This mindset doesn't come from luck. It comes from conscious conditioning, from surrounding themselves with thinkers, creators, innovators, people who elevate their standards. Napoleon Hill called this the mastermind principle. Your results are shaped by the minds you associate with. A person surrounded by small thinkers becomes a small thinker. A person surrounded by problem solvers becomes a problem solver. A person surrounded by visionaries becomes a visionary. Hard work alone cannot break you out of a limited environment, but a single shift in mindset can. If you were raised to believe that effort is all you need, it's not your fault. But now that you know better, it becomes your responsibility to grow beyond that belief. Because the truth is this, you can outwork everyone around you and still remain stuck. But the moment you outthink them, everything changes. Stop seeing your job as your ceiling, it's just a chapter. Stop believing tired advice passed down by tired minds. Stop assuming success is reserved for the lucky. Think higher, expect more, act from vision, not fear. This is the mindset shift that has lifted ordinary individuals into extraordinary success. It is the mindset that will carry you forward if you choose it. Why most people stay stuck in the cycle. If hard work alone doesn't create success, then why do so many people cling to it? Why do millions continue grinding year after year, repeating the same routine, even when their life doesn't move forward? The answer is simple. They were taught to survive, not to evolve. From childhood, people are conditioned by parents, teachers, society, to believe that the right path is the familiar one. Go to school, get a job, work hard, retire, never question the system, never question your beliefs, never question your potential. This conditioning sinks deep into the subconscious mind, and once it settles there, the person becomes trapped in a psychological cycle. Napoleon Hill observed this pattern clearly. He noticed that the average person rarely stops to think independently. They simply follow habits passed down to them. Habits of thought, habits of fear, habits of limitation. And because these habits feel familiar, the person mistakes them for truth. They say, "I can't take risks. I don't know enough. I'm not meant for more. I just have to work harder and hope life gets better." These are not facts. These are mental programs. Hill wrote that the mind becomes whatever you repeat to it, and most people repeat limitations so often that they become permanent. They build comfort zones made of fear, routines built on obedience, and dreams that shrink every year because they lack the courage to think differently. But here's a powerful truth. A comfort zone is not comfort. It is a silent trap. It feels safe, but it kills potential. It feels familiar, but it keeps you small. It feels stable, but it blocks opportunities. Most people stay stuck because they would rather feel familiar pain than face unfamiliar possibility. They know their job, their routine, their habits, even if those habits keep them broke or unhappy. The unknown feels frightening. The known feels secure. So they choose stability over growth, even when stability offers no future. Hill warned that nothing changes until a person becomes uncomfortable with their own comfort. He wrote that success begins the moment you dare to ask, "What if there is more for me? What if the life I accepted is not the life I'm meant for? What if I've been following the wrong map?" Once that question enters your mind, something powerful happens. Your subconscious can't ignore it. It begins searching for new possibilities, new paths, new ways of thinking, and suddenly the world you thought was fixed begins to expand. Opportunities you never noticed start appearing. Ideas you ignored start coming alive. People who were invisible to you start becoming mentors, allies, connections, not because the world changed, but because you changed. Hill believed that every person is one decision away from a completely different life, but few people ever make that decision. They stay stuck because they never challenge the beliefs that keep them stuck. They keep working harder in the wrong direction, hoping sheer effort will save them. But effort without a new mindset is a treadmill. It goes nowhere. You rise when you see yourself differently. You evolve when you think differently. You become unstoppable when you break the mental pattern that once kept you small. Everything begins in the mind, and once the mind expands, it never returns to its old limits. The power of a single idea. Napoleon Hill discovered something extraordinary during his research. A single idea can change your entire life more than 10 years of hard work ever could. Most people don't believe this because they've been trained to value effort more than imagination. But effort has limits. Imagination does not. Think about it. Every business, every invention, every breakthrough started with nothing but a thought, a spark, a moment of clarity, a vision that didn't exist in the physical world yet, but existed in the mind with perfect clarity. Hill realized that thoughts are the blueprint of reality, and the people who master their thinking are the ones who shape the world. The average person underestimates the power of ideas. They believe success is about doing, pushing, grinding, sacrificing, and yes, effort matters, but only after the right idea is formed. Without the right idea, you are rowing a boat in the wrong direction. Hard work only takes you further away from where you want to be. Hill wrote, "Ideas are the beginning points of all fortunes. Not labor, not sacrifice, ideas." Look around you. The wealthiest people didn't get rich by working the hardest. They got rich because they caught one powerful idea and had the courage to act on it. That idea became a system, a product, a service, something that multiplied far beyond anything they could do with manual effort alone. Think of the person who invents a tool that helps millions. They only need to design it once, but it will generate wealth for years. Meanwhile, someone else works day after day, year after year, earning the same paycheck, never realizing that they are trapped in a model that has no leverage. Hill observed that the poor often say, "I need a better job." The rich say, "I need a better idea." The poor think in terms of hours, the rich think in terms of impact. The poor ask, "How much will I get paid?" The rich ask, "How many people can I reach?" And here is the truth that most people never hear. Hard work adds, ideas multiply. One idea can open doors that effort could never touch. One idea can solve problems that hardship could never overcome. One idea can free you from financial struggle permanently. But where do ideas come from? Hill believed they come from a mind that is open, curious, and bold enough to challenge the old beliefs that limit it. Ideas flow naturally when you stop living in survival mode and start living in creative mode. They come when you study, observe, question, experiment, and allow yourself to imagine something better. This is why Hill urged everyone to invest in their thinking. The more you grow mentally, the more ideas you generate. And if even one of those ideas is powerful enough, your entire future transforms with it. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that your income no longer depends on your hours, your physical strength, or your exhaustion. Imagine knowing that one thought you developed became your greatest asset. That's the reality of thinkers. That's the reality Hill saw over and over again in the lives of the successful. And the best part, you are one idea away from joining them. Not 10 ideas, not 100, just one. The idea that changes everything doesn't come when you are exhausted, overwhelmed, or stuck in a routine you resent. It comes when you free your mind to rise above the noise. This is why thinking higher is not optional. It is the path to unlocking the wealth hidden inside you, why most people never rise, and how you will. Napoleon Hill noticed something fascinating. Most people never rise in life, not because they lack potential, but because they never question the mental program running their daily decisions. They live inside inherited beliefs, old habits, and outdated rules. They follow patterns that were designed to keep them safe, not successful. Hill said the greatest prison in the world is not built with walls and bars, it's built with thoughts. Thoughts like, "I'm not ready yet. I'm not smart enough. I need permission. What if I fail? What will people think?" These phrases quietly shape entire lives. They prevent people from asking bigger questions, taking bold steps, and dreaming beyond their environment. And the tragedy is this: people don't even know they're trapped. They think their thoughts are facts, when in reality they are bars on a cage they never questioned. Hill realized that your mind is either your chief asset or your greatest liability, and it all depends on what you allow to live inside it. Most people never rise because they let fear lead. Fear tells them to stay small. Fear tells them not to try. Fear tells them to protect their comfort instead of pursuing their calling. But here's the truth Hill emphasized. Fear is not a stop sign. Fear is a compass. It points directly to the areas where you must grow if you want real change. The exact thing you're scared to do is often the exact thing that will change your life. Hill also believed that poverty begins in the mind, long before it appears in the wallet. If you think small, you create small opportunities. If you doubt yourself, you attract experiences that reinforce that doubt. If you expect struggle, your mind filters the world through struggle. Your mindset becomes your map. If the map is broken, the destination is unreachable, no matter how hard you work. So why do most people stay stuck? Because they repeat the same thoughts every day, the same assumptions, the same self-doubt, the same excuses, the same narrative. Life cannot change if the story in your mind never changes. But here's the turning point, Hill's powerful discovery. The moment you change a dominant thought, you change your destiny. You don't need a miracle. You don't need luck. You don't need approval. You need a new thought strong enough to challenge the old ones. One idea that says, I deserve more, I can rise, I am capable, nothing outside me controls my outcome. This is why Hill taught autosuggestion, visualization, definiteness of purpose, because these tools reshape the inner story that controls your outer life. Once the mind accepts a new belief, your behavior follows. Your habits shift, your opportunities expand, your sense of possibility begins to rise. Suddenly you wake up with energy, you act with intention, you stop seeking permission, you start building instead of waiting, and as your thinking transforms, your environment must follow. It cannot resist a mind that has decided to grow. You are not stuck because life is slow. You are stuck because your thoughts are old. Rewrite them, and the world you experience changes with them. This is why most people never rise, and why you will. You've already started the journey Hill described, the journey of replacing fear with faith, confusion with clarity, and limitation with vision. The moment you choose to think higher, your life begins to rise to match it. Hard work without direction is a trap. Napoleon Hill discovered something uncomfortable but true. Most people are working hard, but almost no one is working smart. This is why Hill said, think and grow rich, not work harder and grow rich, because the world is full of people pouring out their energy, their sweat, their years, yet seeing almost no change in their results. Why? Because hard work without direction becomes a treadmill. You move, you sweat, you exhaust yourself, but you don't travel anywhere new. People mistake motion for progress. They mistake effort for strategy. They mistake exhaustion for achievement. Hill learned that poverty is not defeated by work alone. It is defeated by clarity, creativity, and vision. If hard work alone created wealth, every construction worker, every farm laborer, every cleaner, every factory employee would be a millionaire. But that isn't the world we live in. Why? Because the marketplace does not reward labor, it rewards value. And value comes from the mind, not the muscles. A single breakthrough idea can replace 10 years of struggle. A single courageous decision can change your financial future more than 10,000 hours of routine tasks. A single shift in mindset can open doors that effort alone could never break down. Hard work is honorable, but hard work without a higher thought is slavery in disguise. Hill discovered that the rich, the genuinely successful, operate by a different internal rule. They don't ask, how much can I work? They ask, how far can my mind take me? They know that ideas build empires. Systems create freedom. Thoughts shape wealth. Meanwhile, the masses grind, hoping circumstances will change, hoping someone will notice their effort, hoping one day their luck improves. Hill would say, hope is not a strategy, thought is. This is why he emphasized the power of definiteness of purpose. You must know why you work, where you're going, and what you're building, or your hard work simply feeds someone else's vision. Without a clear purpose, hard work becomes, when your purpose is clear, your decisions sharpen, your opportunities expand, and your energy multiplies. Hill noticed that the wealthy didn't avoid hard work. They simply applied it in places where leverage existed. They work hard on their mind before working hard in the world. They work hard on systems, not just tasks. They work hard on ideas, not just hours. They work hard on goals, not just routines. And here's the truth Hill uncovered. Your mind is the most powerful asset you own, and most people never invest in it. They invest energy into jobs that don't grow them. They invest time into habits that don't elevate them. They invest dreams into environments that don't support them. But those who rise, those who break the cycle, are the ones who say, I will no longer pour my hard work into the wrong direction, because direction matters more than effort. Strategy matters more than struggle. Mindset matters more than movement. This is how you break the illusion of progress. This is how you escape the trap of working endlessly, yet gaining nothing. Hill didn't teach you to work less. He taught you to think higher, so your work leads somewhere meaningful. Hard work is powerful, but only when placed behind a powerful mind. Why most people never break out of the hard work trap. Napoleon Hill spent decades studying thousands of people, workers, entrepreneurs, inventors, failures, millionaires, and he noticed something astonishing. Most people are not defeated by lack of hard work. They are defeated by lack of inner direction. People wake up every day and step into the same cycle. They work hard, but never question the path. They hustle, but never examine the foundation. They sacrifice, but never ask if the sacrifice leads anywhere meaningful. Hill would say, hard work without purpose is the slowest path to success and the fastest path to frustration. And this is why so many people lose hope. It's not because they are lazy, it's because their effort has nowhere to go. They pour their energy into jobs that don't grow them. They invest their talent into routines that don't elevate them. They repeat days that don't build a better future. Hill believed the greatest tragedy was not poverty, but potential buried under the wrong kind of work. Think about it. A person can work 40 years in the wrong environment and retire in the same position they started. Not because they weren't committed, not because they weren't disciplined, but because the vehicle they were driving was incapable of taking them to the destination they dreamed about. Hill taught that success requires 3 ingredients. 1, a clear purpose. Without purpose, your energy scatters. With purpose, your energy becomes a laser. 2, a trained mind. Your thoughts determine how high you rise. Your beliefs determine how far you go. Your vision determines what you attempt. 3, a strategic plan. Hard work needs direction. Otherwise, it becomes survival, not success. This is why Hill emphasized imagination, desire, faith, decision, persistence, and mastermind alliances, because these are mental tools, not physical labor. Hill discovered the wealthy weren't working harder than everyone else. They were working on different things. They work on ideas while others work on tasks. They build systems while others chase hours. They seek leverage while others seek overtime. They grow their mind while others grow their exhaustion. Hill found that the poor often think survival is the goal, but the rich think freedom is the goal, and freedom requires strategy, not sweat. The poor work for income. The rich work for impact. The poor chase opportunities. The rich create them. The poor seek permission. The rich operate by decision. Hill famously said strength and growth come only through continuous effort and struggle, but he clarified something important. The struggle that matters most is internal, not just physical. Struggling with thoughts that limit you, struggling with beliefs that confine you, struggling with fears that shrink your ambition. Break those and the world opens. Fail to break them and the world becomes a closed loop. Most people endure the outer struggle, waking early, working long hours, sacrificing weekends, but never engage in the inner struggle that creates transformation. They fight for a paycheck but neglect the mindset that creates wealth. They fight for security but neglect the imagination that creates opportunity. They fight for approval but neglect the self-belief that creates independence. Hill would say, you don't escape your situation by doing more of the same. You escape by becoming more than you were before. This is why hard work alone is never enough. It creates movement, not elevation. If you want to elevate, you must think higher. You must imagine more. You must demand more from yourself mentally, not just physically. This is the shift Hill dedicated his life to teaching. It is the difference between effort that exhausts you and effort that transforms you. It is the difference between decades of struggle and a future shaped by purpose. The mindset shift that separates dreamers from builders. Napoleon Hill spent 20 years studying the greatest achievers of his time, Carnegie, Ford, Edison, Rockefeller, and he discovered a truth that shocked him. The people who accomplish the most do not think the way the average person thinks. It wasn't luck. It wasn't inheritance. It wasn't even talent. It was mental habits, repeated daily until they formed a new identity. Hill noticed that the average person thinks in straight lines: work hard, earn money, survive. But the great thinkers operate in higher patterns: think clearly, create value, build wealth, expand freedom. The difference between these two approaches is the difference between a life of struggle and a life of purpose. Most people work to maintain life. Few work to transform life. Most people focus on problems. Few focus on possibilities. Most people fear risk. Few fear stagnation. And here's what Hill realized: the quality of your thinking determines the quality of your results. Most people think reactively. They respond to circumstances. They repeat old beliefs. They recycle fear. They obey the limits society gave them. But those who rise, those who build empires, think proactively. They choose their thoughts. They design their beliefs. They build ideas like architects. They think beyond the programming they inherited. Hill wrote that success begins with a single decision: I will control my thoughts, or my thoughts will control me. Because here's the truth most never hear: you cannot change your life if you do not change your thinking. You cannot reach new levels with old beliefs. You cannot create wealth with a mindset built for survival. Your thoughts shape your behavior. Your behavior shapes your habits. Your habits shape your destiny. This is why Hill emphasized autosuggestion, the deliberate planting of thoughts that align with your desires. Why? Because your subconscious mind drives 95% of your daily actions. Most people never program it, so they live based on old childhood rules, old fears, old limitations, old stories. They wonder why their potential feels blocked. They wonder why their life doesn't change. But the answer is simple: you cannot rise with a mind still carrying weight from the past. The wealthy, the leaders, the visionaries, they do not put their mind on autopilot. They program it intentionally. They discipline it relentlessly. They guard it like a fortress. Hill discovered the rich were not necessarily smarter. They simply used their mind differently. They asked better questions. What opportunities am I not seeing? How can I multiply my time, not trade it? What systems can I build that work even when I sleep? Who can help me accelerate this idea? What belief must I let go of to reach the next level? These questions unlock doors that hard work alone can never open. Hill believed that thinking is the ultimate form of labor, the kind that pays you forever. And here's the part most people ignore: one powerful thought can outperform 10 years of physical effort. Because thought creates strategy. Strategy creates leverage. Leverage creates freedom. This is why Hill said that the mind is the master power. Your body executes, but your mind decides where your energy goes, how your life expands, what opportunities you recognize, and what future you step into. Working harder is not the solution. Thinking higher is. When you change your thought patterns, you break cycles that trapped generations before you. You transcend the limitations that society placed on you. You unlock the mental blueprint that builds wealth, opportunity, and influence. This is the dividing line between dreamers and builders. Dreamers keep working harder. Builders learn to think better. The truth Napoleon Hill wanted you to never forget. If you take nothing else from this entire teaching, take this: your thoughts shape your destiny more than your labor ever will. Napoleon Hill spent 20 years studying the most powerful, wealthy, and influential men of his era, and he learned something the world still struggles to understand. Most people work hard. Very few people think hard. Most people chase wages. Very few create ideas. Most people grind endlessly. Very few build systems that free them. Hill realized the world is full of exhausted people, not because they lack discipline, but because they lack direction. They pour their energy into routines that go nowhere, into habits that produce nothing new, into environments that never elevate them. Hard work is not your enemy, but hard work without higher thinking becomes a life sentence. Hill saw that the wealthy did not escape poverty with muscle. They escaped with mindset. They changed their relationship with time. They changed their relationship with opportunity. They changed their relationship with themselves. That is why he said, more gold has been mined from the thoughts of men than has ever been taken from the earth. Because one powerful idea can change your entire future. One shift in belief can rewrite the path of your life. One decision to think bigger can create opportunities that physical labor alone could never produce. So what is the real meaning of hard work? It is not sweat. It is not struggle. It is not sacrifice for survival. Real hard work is the decision to think differently when everyone around you thinks the same. It is the courage to question the programming you were raised with. It is the discipline to train your mind like a muscle. It is the commitment to expand your vision beyond the limits of your environment. Because no matter how hard you work physically, you cannot rise with a mind built for survival. But when you think higher, your actions elevate, your standards elevate, your results elevate, and suddenly life begins to move in ways it never has before. Remember this: the poor work for money, the rich make money work for them. The poor wait for permission, the rich act from decision. The poor trade time for survival, the rich multiply time for freedom. This is not arrogance. This is understanding the laws Hill spent his life decoding. Your future is not written by your job, your hours, your struggle, or your circumstances. Your future is written by the thoughts you choose to entertain. Every belief you hold either expands you or traps you. Every decision you make either elevates you or repeats the past. Every thought you think either opens a door or closes one. That is why the greatest work you will ever do is the work you do within. Change your thinking and your world will change. Change your vision and your direction will change. Change your mindset and your entire destiny will change. This is the truth most people will never hear, but now you know it. You don't rise by working harder, you rise by thinking higher. And once you master that, no one can stop you.